Good evening, everyone. This is Michael Robbins here in the Temple of Silence in Finland, and I'm substituting for my wife and co-worker Tuija Robbins, who is out of town right now. She usually is the one who does these broadcasts, but I'm filling in here, so please bear with me. This is the Ask Project. We have 5 broadcasts every week with the Ask Project. And this project, well, you know the old saying, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be opened to you. So this is all about invocation. That's what we're doing together from an esoteric perspective. A lot of us are trained in spiritual occult meditation, and we're doing our best to invoke the energies which humanity needs at this difficult time, difficult transitional time in its development. Tonight we are working with the Triangles meditation. This whole project, as you know, is something that DK said is so close to my heart, he said, quote unquote. So this, this tells us something about his relationship to the 3 Buddhas of activity and the relationship to his ashram and maybe to the number 3 in terms of his own structure, energy structure. He says, you know, I'll just read a little bit here. He says, this work must go on, especially these days, I would say. It is because the entire concept is so new and different to anything hitherto projected that it seems so impossible of achievement. The Triangles project has its incentive in such highly esoteric sources that some disciples regard the work as exceedingly difficult and thus complicate by their thinking its essential simplicity. Others regard it as the simplest thing in the world, and by an emphasis upon the exoteric and the organizational angle, they again hinder the true type of triangle being created. You know how it goes. You find 2 other individuals who are attuned to this type of service, and you link up with them as soul-infused personalities or as souls, and you visualize the energy of light and of love flowing between the 3 of you. It's easy to do. You visualize it and you try to feel it. According to the depth of your feeling, so will be the success of the work. Around the world there will be formed a great network of triangles, and it can be used in emergency moments by the 3 Buddhas of activity and by the hierarchy. And I would say that in the next 9 years of the era of the Forerunner, up to 2025, we're liable to see some of those emergency moments. So do your best to participate in at least 1 triangle and more if you have the contacts and the stamina, and do this every day. Link up with your triangles members, visualize them in relation to the great network of triangles, and say aloud the great invocation followed by the sacred word in which you distribute the energy. Well, we are going to get right into the meditation. You know, of course, you'll be doing this every day at such a time as is reasonable for you. I used to do it driving in the car sometimes, you know, and my kids would laugh because I somehow was forming the triangles with the movement of my head. But anyway, whatever opportunity exists for you, Make sure you do it every day. Make sure you visualize your triangle's partners in the light and love of the soul, and feel that energy. Feel it pulsing through you and through the triangle and into the triangle's network, and it will help. It will help. We really do have to do this type of esoteric service, and the more triangles of quality, the better, as we move into these very difficult transitional times. So let us begin. We will pull back from the strictly personality identification, and we will align with the soul, ourself, we might say, on the higher mental plane, and the energy of the solar angel pervading to a certain extent the egoic lotus, where we find our identity on the higher mental plane. And paying attention then also to the group soul. The soul is group conscious, but paying attention to the group soul of all who are doing this meditative work together. And inaudibly and within our own consciousness, we sound the Om 3 times, one for each of the 3 aspects of the personality, or one for the 3 periodical vehicles, the personality, the soul, and the spirit. So a few moments of silence while we inwardly sound the Om. Now we visualize the network of golden triangles covering the entire planet. And within that context of the network of thousands of triangles, aiming one day, and we hope it is soon, towards that magic number 100,000 triangles of quality, within that context, we focus on our own triangle or triangles. Now it will depend upon how many triangles you have, how much time should be allotted, but when you do this by yourself, you will be able to take the necessary time, long or short. So we think toward the triangles, we think of the names of our triangle group members, we name them, maybe we've been doing that already, name them in the field of love and light. And as a soul-infused personality, we imagine ourselves to be that. Increasingly, we are that. We invoke the soul expression of all those we are working with in the Triangles network. The soul is light, the soul is love. The soul is sacrificial power. So may the energy of the soul characterize all our interactions with those with whom we are working in this way. So it is the flow of love and goodwill, which is love in action, and the energy of light, and eventually the energy of the will to good, which flows in our little triangle network, the one that we are working with. We try to feel this energy. First, let us say the energy of light, illumining all of our interaction. Then the energy of love, expressing as goodwill, entering and sustaining all of our interaction. So it's love and it's light flowing through our triangles, and we link them in our mind's eye to the light in the network of triangles, link the love that we are feeling, expressing as goodwill, we link that to the love and goodwill in the whole network of triangles. So we reinforce the network, and the network reinforces our own little network. And this great network that will become larger and larger and more numerous and of higher quality as we go along, it is linked to the great triangle in Shambhala, the three Buddhas of activity representing the three rays of aspect. Visualize that. So there is a direct connection with these three great beings who once were, we are told, planetary logoi in a previous solar system. That's their status. And they are assisting our planetary logos, and at the center of that triangle is the Lord of the world, Sanat Kumara, the great Lord of sacrifice on our planet, and the highest example of the teaching ray upon our planet. And all this is linked to the planetary network of triangles which we are building. So if we hold this and hold our triangles and visualize the network and grow the network, then in times of emergency, the necessary antidotal energy can come forth and help humanity emerge in the right way into the promise of the new age and be sustained in the new age. Keep that in your mind, keep that in your imagination, and in your day, in your work, as you go along, now and then visualize that network of triangles, flash into your consciousness those you are working with, and see that network sustaining humanity the way humanity must be sustained. It's a real thing, and it is very occult, esoteric work, and it's very necessary, and it's very close to the heart of Master DK. And we should do everything we can in the coming years to build this network through our own participation. Then you will be truly an esoteric worker in an esoteric project sponsored by the hierarchy and necessary to humanity. And we know that when we visualize our triangles and one after another and then hold them in our mind's eye the best we can, there comes the time when we say together the great invocation. So we will now hear the great invocation sung and participate in it, visualizing our triangles and the network. And we see the golden network covering the entire planet. And if we can use our imagination, we see many, many, many more triangles than now exist. 100,000, let us imagine we see. So that in every country, wherever you go, spanning the oceans, spanning the continents, because there are so many triangles that are not local, we see the entire etheric network enriched by the triangles, which really is helping our planet gradually become a sacred planet. And we see redemption coming to humanity, more light in the mind, more love in the heart, more will, sacrificial will through the head center and driving all before it. And as you go through your day, hold the thought of your inner membership with this network and the occult work you are doing, subtle work, but very effective work, simple work, but very powerful work. This work you are doing to bring about the elevation of humanity, its redemption, and its safe entry into the age of Aquarius, the age of energy circulation. We can cross that bridge of light into the new age together by creating this network of triangles, strengthening it to our best ability. And we will close our meditation with the ancient prayer, the Gayatri. You see here before you our schedule. Tomorrow night, the reappearance of the Christ. We're on the 5 p.m. week GMT, Universal Time, and we will continue in our country on Saturday. Will be the United Arab Emirates, very different from the countries we've been considering, and the Middle East being such a focus for trouble. We remember, maybe unhappily, that the 3 points of focus within the Middle East for the forces of obstruction are, strangely, maybe to some of us, in the United States, in the Middle East, especially the main area there, the focal area, and also a point in Central Europe, undisclosed. We do all we can to counteract those forces through the powers of light, of love, and of sacrifice. So now then, that ancient prayer, the Gayatri, O thou who givest sustenance to the universe, from whom all things proceed, to whom all things return, unveil to us the face of the true spiritual sun, hidden by a disk of golden light, that we may know the truth and do our whole duty as we journey to thy sacred feet.